So you need help. Or do you? Therapy, it's a scary thing. And a lot of people will say, you need to talk to someone, or you should you should go see someone. Well, when do you need to go to therapy? Let's talk about that. I'm Kathy Shorman, and I'm a trauma specialist. I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor and the owner of Monarch Therapy. I specialize in seeing people who are going through life transitions and working on uh, past patterns and trauma. So let's talk about what brings you to therapy. There's a lot of things that can bring you to therapy. The thing to remember is, well, what I like to say is everybody's got stuff. And it's what you do with the stuff that makes it either healthy or unhealthy. So, what kind of stuff? Well, people present for therapy for a lot of different reasons. They might be in a life transition, positive or negative. You know, there's this big list of the top uh, stressors in life. And believe it or not, some of the top 5 stressors are some of the most exciting or positive things that could be in someone's life, like the birth of a child, or marriage, or buying a new home. So, if you're in a life transition and you're noticing that things just are feeling overwhelming or affecting how you show up in relationships or in your work, it might be time to talk to someone. Another thing that might bring you to therapy is patterns. And I'm talking about those patterns that, you sit back and you've been on the dating apps and you notice like all the people showing up in your feed are so much like your ex. There's a pattern. Or, you've been talking with your friend or your coworker, and those friendships, they seem to just recycle over and over. The faces change, but the conversations or the feelings don't, and they're not making you feel all that good. Or maybe have you ever heard, if you're a parent, you ever heard your mom or your dad's voice come out of your mouth? Well, those are patterns. And so when you start to notice these patterns, notice how they're affecting the other part of your life. And if the pattern doesn't seem to be serving you well, it's time for a change. So therapy, talking to a counselor, talking to therapist can give you that objective point of view. There's a lot to be said for leaning into your support system. We all have support systems, and that's important. I was on social media the other day, and a friend of mine posted something that really speaks to the importance of leaning into our support system. And so I just wanted to read this because my friend Tammy, shout out to Tammy, she talked about co-regulation, in which it's the process through which 2 nervous systems find attunement. So nervous system regulation, that's the goal in therapy. And you can find that through your supports. She wrote here that we often forget that regulation is not meant to be a solo task, that shouldn't happen in isolation, silence, or behind closed doors. It's intended to occur in connection. So if you have a support system and you're leaning into that, you can find co-regulation or attunement or find that relief in having those open and honest conversations with people that you trust. And sometimes it's better to seek outside help with that. For instance, if you've got those friends who are always hyping you up, how are you ever going to be able to see your blind spot? we always want to we always want to support people that we love. And sometimes you need to hear the other side. That can be found with an objective third party. That can be found in counseling. Or sometimes there are things that maybe we're not comfortable talking to other people about. There's a privacy factor when it comes to therapy. Therapists we are committed to protecting privacy. There's actually ethical and legal rules around what we can and cannot share. So sometimes having that security of knowing that what's said in the room stays in the room, and that person is trained to work with certain thought patterns to help you maybe develop skills to get through that and look at something a little bit differently. That's when therapy can be really helpful. So again, everybody's got stuff. And what's your stuff like? Is it making you feel healthy? Are you dealing with it in a healthy way? Are you supported by people around you that help you get through the stuff in a way that feels healthy? Or do you find that the stuff is maybe interfering with how you show up with your loved ones, at job, in your life? Is it keeping you up at night? Maybe it's time to talk to someone. So again, my name is Kathy Shorman. I'm a trauma therapist and the owner of Monarch Therapies. We'd love to be that space for you to feel safe and work through those patterns. So you can find us online, go to our website, give us a call. You can send us a private message, and I see you. I love it, and talk to you later.